110 million years old dinosaur mummy found. Being the best preserved dinosaur specimen ever discovered, it is allegedly being hailed by scientists. Its bones are concealed by intact skin and armor, which is why you cannot see them. Despite the fact that this dinosaur passed away more than 110 million years ago, its remnants appear to have been preserved for only a few weeks. Although this preserved nodosaur is over 110 million years old and was discovered by mistake by some miners in Canada, the skin still has distinct patterns. This information was provided by the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology, which is situated in Alberta, Canada, and recently made the discovery public. The dinosaur is so well preserved that instead of a fossil, we could very safely call it a dinosaur mummy. The discovery's almost unprecedented level of presentation stunned the academics who were studying it. Surprisingly, the animal's armor, skin, and even some of its guts remained intact. Furthermore, it was something they had never even seen before. A much shorter time, 6 years, than the 110 million years that had elapsed since the early Cretaceous period of the dinosaur's demise, had gone between its discovery and its arrival at the museum. The dinosaur was found in Alberta, and a miner quickly alerted the museum officials. Early Cretaceous Alberta would have had a climate and environment similar to modern-day Florida at the time, and dinosaurs would have lived there. Even the construction of the dinosaur resembled that of a tank. It was a massive four-legged herbivore clothed in a spiky plate armor and belonged to the relatively recently found species of nodosaur. It weighed about 3,000 pounds. This mummified nodosaur still weighs an astounding 2,500 pounds, which gives you an idea of how well preserved it is. When it was alive, the dinosaur, an ankylosaur, weighed more than a ton. However, based on the contents of its stomach, it appeared to be a plant-eating creature that preferred ferns. Its stomach is roughly the size of a soccer ball. It is extremely rare to find a dinosaur's genuine preserved stomach contents. And the museum team's recovery of this stomach from the mummified nodosaur is by far the best preserved dinosaur stomach discovered to date. When it came to food, this nodosaur was quite picky. The contents of the stomach were compared to fossil leaf studies from the same era and location. The nodosaur mostly ignored the common cycad and conifer leaves, preferring to eat the delicate leaves of specific ferns. They discovered 48 pollen and spore microfossils from 48 different plants, including moss and liverwort, 26 club mosses and ferns, 2 blooming plants, and 13 conifers. However, it's still a mystery as to how the dinosaur mummy could actually remain so intact for so long. Researchers suggest that the nodosaur might have been swept away by a flooded river and even carried out to sea, where it ultimately sank to the floor. As several millions of years passed, minerals could have settled on the dinosaur's skin and armor. This might even help explain why the creature was preserved in such a lifelike form. Researchers have also speculated that the animal might have rested on the ocean floor for millions of years, allowing minerals to take the place of organs. In honor of the museum worker Mark Mitchell, researchers even gave the 5.5-meter Nodosaur borealipelta Mark Mitchellii a new name. But just how realistic is the specimen in reality? The granite that surrounded the fossil was compressed into a 15,000-pound block, but when raised, it fractured. When the pieces arrived at the museum, they were encased in plaster. Over the course of more than 7,000 hours, the fossil preparation lab labored to separate the skin and bone from the surrounding rock. Since the dinosaur was a herbivore, the skin must have played an important role in protecting it from the massive carnivores that were present at that time. The nodosaur had actually been discovered by an unsuspecting excavator operator that had uncovered the historic discovery while he was busy digging in an oil sands mine. According to reports that were later released by the museum, approximately 7,000 painstaking reconstruction hours later, this dinosaur was finally ready to meet the public. As if the preservation of the armor, skin and guts weren't nearly impressive enough. The dinosaur mummy is also incredibly unique in that it was actually preserved in 3 dimensions, with the original shape of the animal retained. The discovery, according to museum specialists, represents a significant gain in our knowledge of the design of dinosaur armor because it is the most complete specimen yet found. Chemical traces left behind on the armor may also disclose details about the dinosaur's color, which could reveal details on how it behaved during mating displays to pique the interest of the opposite gender.